Okay. All right. See, I did not forget to record at the beginning this time. So I'm so excited you guys hopped on today. If you were newer to the team, maybe you have or maybe you have not heard Shari talk before. And so Shari McAllister came to our very first conference. She was our keynote speaker with Color Street, our very first conference in 2000. What year was that?
17.
Wow. And so she has been training with our team on and off ever since then. And she has so much great information on, you know, a lot of people are looking for like this magic answer of how do I make my business grow? And they try all these different things and, you know, they try this training, that training. Shari gives us the basics, you guys. She gives us what you need to do, which is, we talk about it over and over. You have parties, you host as coach, you talk about the business and bring people in the business, and you work with new people and you keep doing it over and over and over and over. There is no magic answer. That's the answer. So she's great at explaining all that to us. And this is one of my favorites because as leaders, and
no, thank you.
If you guys are, I'll mute everybody in a second. If you guys are newer leaders, and this is such a great thing to see.
Thank you so much.
Watching these numbers. All right.
Put it in the bag.
I'm going to mute. Sorry, you guys.
Can you hand me a bag?
Okay. It's so great. This is such a good one. So you guys, she will show you how you can make your team blow up. And we've seen it with multiple people on our team. So anyways, I'm super excited to have Shari. Now, Jeff gave us the best suggestion on his call the other night, and it's going to be our new thing now when, like, moving forward. So Shari's saying, if Shari's saying something that we love, go in that comment group and comment. You know, she doesn't have to watch the comments, but we can be saying to each other, yes, love that. You know, we haven't really taken advantage, I don't think, of the chat thing as much to be able to say what we're loving and what we're learning as we're hearing it. So anyways, let's take advantage of that. So if there's something Shari's saying that we think is amazing, or, you know, let's definitely use that chat so we can express that. And then, of course, if there's questions, we'll be able to put that in for Shari to address as well. All right, so enough of me talking. Shari's got her screen up. We're recording, and Shari, go ahead and take it away. Unmute. Oh, can you unmute you? I'm going to mute me after you're unmuted.
Debbie,
Oh, yeah.
did you mention by chance where the slides are? If people wanted to grab them, I posted them in the leader group, Beautifully Polished Leaders.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So you guys, if you're not driving and you're able to go to a laptop, go to the Facebook group, Beautifully Polished Leaders. And I just posted the slides there, so you can follow along there also if you want. But I see Shari's sharing them.
Yeah, and hopefully everyone's in Beautifully Polished Leaders. Shari, I'm trying to unmute you and it won't let me.
She can, I unmuted myself.
Okay, how about that? Okay.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to mute me. And then Shari, as soon as you talk, you'll be up in the little up there in the corner for the video.
Well, hey, thank you, Debbie, and thank you, Jackie, for having me once again with the opportunity to train your team. I always love being with you guys, and I love seeing all of you guys on live with us tonight. That's super exciting for all three of us that are, myself and Debbie and Jackie, to see so many of you here present with us right now. I know it's not possible for all of you, and you might be listening to this recording later, but it's always fun to see faces and just brings us a little bit of energy when we can see all of you here with us. So we're talking tonight about a topic that we've trained with you guys on before, but it's one of those pieces of the Shari training that we like to put in front of you on a regular basis, because the more you hear this, the more you will retain and the more it starts to make sense to you. And there's certain pieces that can just kind of sneak past us and we miss them. So the more you listen to it, the more you'll pick up on. So if you're wondering, some of you might have heard this before and wondering why we're doing it again, we will continue to do this as often as Debbie and Jackie will have me, because I just think you can't hear this one enough. It is absolutely my most popular training when I'm speaking at a national conference or some kind of a regional event. This is the topic that's almost always selected for me to share with the group. It is a fail-proof plan. It's also meaning that if you follow this plan, and you'll see as we go through it that there's 8 pieces to it. If you follow it, it works for everybody. And that's one of the things that I try to insist on from myself, is that I create plans and systems that work for everyone. Not just the brilliant, not just the hilarious, not just the this or that, but just a system that if they follow this, they will get results 100% of the time. So this is the plan to build a 6-figure income in 18 months, also known as the plan to add 274 people to your team in 18 months. And it's really fun for me to watch people that follow this plan, and their numbers are just in line every step of the way with what we're talking about tonight. It is a plan that I used to build my biggest organization. It's a plan that I taught different teams when I was corporate and working from home office, and certainly something that I've trained on, as I said, at national conferences for years and years. We tweak it to make sure that it stays current, and it is current. I have brand new coaching clients that are following this plan and getting the exact results that I'm going to talk about with you tonight. So we know that it's still working today. It's not something that I created, years ago, and it's kind of old school. It's working today. All right. So as we go through this plan, you're going to see, sorry, I'm going to go back. As we go through this plan, I just want to open with this. It's not the plan for everybody, and I know that. It's a very aggressive plan. It's a plan to build a big organization and a 6-figure income in 18 months. So that's a big, big step. It's an aggressive step. So we're also going to talk about Plan B, which is a little bit slower plan, and then we're going to talk about Plan C, which is really just holding your ground, staying where you're at without having to worry about reverting from team leader to senior stylist or director to team leader. Maybe you're just real happy with where you're at. You just want to know, how do I just maintain this without having to stress over it? So we have Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, and there isn't any right plan. It's the plan that's best for you. So my job tonight is just to show you, if you do this, you're going to get this, and if you do this, you're going to get this, just so you know exactly what to expect. As we go, there we go. As we go through this, I want you to keep a few thoughts in mind, and this is the first one. Those who aspire to be leaders can do it, and those who wish to become much better leaders can also do it. John Wooden, head basketball coach for UCLA, of course, basketball team. He's, I should say, the late John Wooden, but one of my greater mentors. I've read his books. I've listened to his audios. He's just a great leader in the role of leadership. So if we want to learn how to be a great leader, he's just one of those people that can really give us great, very simple direction. And so this is one of his books, John Wooden on leadership. And what I like about this is that it really says the truth. Those who aspire to be leaders can do it. And I can remember talking with a CEO. He was a brand new CEO for a company based right here in Washington. I was actually on contract with them. We were talking about what I was going to do to help them build leaders. And he was new to direct sales. He came from a Fortune 500 company, retail, which if we've been in this business for very long, I think that we can all agree that retail is a very different animal than direct sales, and we have to run them differently, and they work differently, and blah, blah, blah. But he said to me on our very first meeting together, as we're talking about leadership, oh, come on, Shari. I mean, there are people that are going to be leaders, and there are people that will just never, ever be leaders. And I said, well, maybe, but I've been in this business for 20 years at that point in time. And if there's somebody that cannot be a leader in this business, I've not met them yet. I've met people that chose not to be leaders, but that's a very different thing, isn't it? Never met anybody that couldn't be a leader if they chose to. So I love that part of the quote. And the second, those who wish to become much better leaders can also do it. So perhaps you're already a leader, a team leader, a director, senior director, executive. So let's never lose sight of that. And I hope that this training will help you to be an even better leader. Those who wish to become much better leaders can also do it. There's always more for us to learn, more that we can discover to be even better leaders. Here's 3 mantras that I think will play an important part of what we're going to be talking about for the next 60 minutes. First, we have to model something that people want. So when we're thinking about not just moving to team leader, but then moving from team leader to director to senior director, this is something that we have to keep in mind. We have to model something that people want in the way that we work our business, in the lifestyle that we have because of Color Street. That means, what has Color Street done for our lifestyle? Does it allow us to pay the bills? Does it allow us to purchase a new car, or put our child in a private school, or maybe just treat ourselves to an outfit once in a while without feeling guilty? We have to model something that people want. And whether it's one of those little things or bigger things, those are things that people dream about and want. But also in lifestyle, you heard me say that, right? So we have to model something in the way that we work our business that people want to follow. And you'll understand that more as we go through the rest of this training. Next, we have to model something that people can see themselves doing. Equally as important, we want people to watch us every step of the way and say, I can do that. What about the way that we do our nail bars? Whether they're online, meaning Facebook or Zoom, or we do them in person when we are able to do that. No, right now that's not even a possibility, but at some point again, we will be able to do that. However you do your nail bars, we want people to watch us, meaning our guests, our hostess, and say, I can do that. In fact, it's even better if they say, I can do that. I can do it even better. Which is why I always use the party cards when I was doing my party presentation. So they'd watch me and say, she's just doing cards. I can do that. That's what I want them to think. If they say something to you like, oh my gosh, you're so hilarious. Oh my gosh, you're so much fun. Oh my gosh, well, no, that one's okay. Oh my gosh, you're the best stylist I've ever had, or the best consultant I've ever had. They mean that as a genuine compliment, and I know it feels really good. But if we are really listening, what they're saying is, I can't do what you do. I'm not funny. I don't know everything about the product. I'm not as good as you. We want them to say, I could do that. So that's a starting point. But what about the way we lead our team? Do they watch us and say, I could do that? Does it look easy? Does it look all-consuming? Sometimes people will say, I have the best leader on the planet. I can message her at 11 o'clock at night and she responds instantly. Okay, yeah, they do love you. They do appreciate you. They love that you're so accessible. Do they want to be you? That's the more important question. And the answer to that is no. Women in this world work full-time. Almost every woman works full-time. And even if they don't, they've got kids, they've got busy lives. We have to model something that says, I have boundaries. I have start times, I have stop times. You can add being a leader to your very busy life. They might love you, they might adore you, they might think you're the best leader on the planet, but do they want to be you? Only if you're working part-time. So keep that in mind. And next, if we're not talking about money all the time, we're not talking about it enough. And I don't mean in a braggy, arrogant way. I mean in an exciting and motivating way. We're not going to talk about that particular piece in this training, but it's a good thing to remember as you're thinking about building a giant organization. Am I selling the dream? Am I selling the possibilities? Money is the number one motivator in our business. It's the number one reason that people join. And I'm talking about people that are going to work this business. I'm not talking about people that want to get their product at a discount. It's the number one reason that people join, is to make some extra money. Maybe a little extra money, maybe a lot of extra money, but that's the number one motivator. It's the number one motivator in people moving from stylist to team leader to director. It's the increase in income that they're going to have when that happens. Recognition is the number two motivator, but money is important in our business. We're not talking about it. We're missing the number one motivator. Okay, so let's talk about some results real quick. And I'm going to talk fast here because you can always come back and read these, but I want you to know from real people how well this plan works. It's fail-proof if you follow the plan. Okay, so this is a company that I was their VP of sales. They were a little tiny startup company in North Carolina. And I was at their national conference. It was my very first time meeting them. And I was going to be training, I trained the topic that I'm training you guys on tonight at national conference. There's only 50 women in the room. And as I trained on this, I said the same thing to them. Some of you are going to say, I don't know, this feels really hard. I'm not sure I can do this. Yes, you can. I know you can. Or they might say, nobody in our company's ever done this before. That's okay. Nobody's ever done it until somebody does, and then people follow you. And they might say that, this just isn't for me, and that's okay. It isn't for everybody. That's very true. And some will say, I'm so doing this. So these 6 women fell into that latter category. I am so doing this. They came up to me, they committed to me, and I worked very closely with them for the next 5 months until they sold that company to Discovery Toys. And they already had a VP of sales, so I was kind of out of a job. So I don't know what happened to them after that, but here's the results for 5 months. And keep in mind, this was an educational toy company, so a very niche market. That means our customer had to really appreciate the value of educational toys, which cost more than your big box toys. So educational toys with a music focus. Let's make it an even more niche market, and our customer needs to understand the importance of music in the development of children. And then from birth to 8. So when that customer's child got to 8 years old, we lost them. So we had to keep replenishing our customer base. So really niche market, tough market. And we had to sell the value of these more expensive toys without sounding like we had a degree in child development so we could recruit. And when I got there, these women sounded like they had a degree in child development, and most of them were teachers and did have a master's degree. So they would use words, this big, and I didn't even know what they were talking about. And so I talked with the CEO and I said, we've got to teach them how to dummy this down. We've got to figure out how we can sell this product without 7-syllable words, because people are going to watch them and say, I could never do what you do. So we figured all of that out. And long story short is, here's Amy, first one over there you see. She's our #1 recruiter. She recruits 3 or 4 a month consistently, but it's like, come in, go back out, come in, go back out, revolving door. She can't keep any of them. So she's a big recruiter, but she's not growing. As you can see, her total volume, and UL is unit leader, which is the same thing as team leader to you guys. So she's a team leader. Her group volume is $4,602, counting her own volume, so not a very big team. And 5 months later, she's a director, which is in your language, like a senior director, with a group volume of 24,228. She's promoted out to team leaders. And Heather, she's a team leader from, not Wichita, Kansas, somewhere in Kansas, some little tiny town in Kansas. It's so small that it has one street light that only works during school hours. So a tiny little town. She drives an hour and a half to get to a city big enough to sustain her business and grow her business. So an hour and a half to do parties, an hour and a half back home every time she does a party. She's got 6,351 in volume in July. 5 months later, she's at $28,323. She's promoted out 2 leaders. And if you think about it, you may not all be aware of this, but in most companies in December, you've got a 2-week selling period, basically before the holiday cutoff. So that kind of volume growth, and we only had about two weeks to sell in December. So she's promoted out 2 team leaders. Jen was in July our #1 director. She's a senior director. She's got group volume of 14,500. By the way, our party average was 250. So, we had a ways to go to get 14,500 in volume. And then 5 months later, she's at the top of the company as far as, we didn't have all the ranks that Color Street has yet. We just had a few ranks. But she's a gold director with 48,706. She's promoted out 2 leaders. I mean, how many of you would love to see this kind of growth in just 5 months with your team? And then Patty, she was in Detroit in 2006. So at the very beginning of the mortgage collapse and banks failing and all of that recession. So she's in a tough place in a tough time. $1,600 in volume, counting her own sales in July. She's in grace month. She's about ready to lose her downline. 5 months later, 28,833. She's promoted out 2 leaders. Shari is our top seller, but she's been stuck at there's in between team leader and senior director, we have a level so it's kind of in the middle there. She's an advanced unit leader with $6,725. And 5 months later, she's at the same rank as Jen. So she's really moved up. She's promoted 3 leaders in 5 months, 43,873. Janine was the 6th person that really committed to this plan with that company. And she had 1885 in volume in July, also in grace months, ready to lose her downline. And 5 months later, she's got 21,638. She's promoted out 2 leaders. So that's a company with a lot of challenges that that despite those kinds of challenges, they did a great job with this plan. So I'm kind of cut off. I can't read all this. Maybe you guys can, but this is Martine Williams. We're actually in our 12th year of coaching together. Now one of my very best friends, but when we first started working together in August in 2008, I had just spoken at their national conference, and right away she started coaching with me. She was a team leader when we started coaching together, and she made $1,400 in July, the month before we started coaching. 5 months later, her income is $4,800 a month. 9 months later, it's $10,000 a month. A year later, it was $15,000 a month. And I don't know if you can read this, but she says, the most exciting part is we didn't add 274 people to my organization in 18 months as planned. We added 360 some, I can't see that number, but 360 some to my director team. So that would be her team leader team, just her personal team without the people that were under her leaders. They were in frantic growth, just like Color Street was about a year and a half ago, new company, frantic growth. So they were just growing like crazy. In 16 months, plus all the new members added to my organization. And then at the end of 22 months, her income was $49,000. So here we are 12 years later of working together, and she's made over $500,000 for the last 12 years, or 10 years, because it took her 2 years to get to that point. And I think some of you, whoops, uh-oh, how do we go? Oh, shoot. Hang on, we went too far. I want you to see that powerful lady there. I know she's a good friend of Jackie and Debbie's, and she loves you guys so much. So I know she'd want me to say hi to you. But this is CJ Summer. She is a presidential founder and national executive director at Color Street. Now, this is when she was with another company. And I won't go into all the details, but same kind of results. She's going from $1,400 a month, and she was a team leader at that company, to 6 months later, $27,000 a month. And then the next month she promoted to the final rank in that company. So in 7 months, she went from team leader to their top level and over $36,000 a month in income. And she's, just a huge success at Color Street now. She's also a coaching client of mine. 7 years now we've coached together. So she's also a really dear friend of mine. Keep doing that. Okay, so let's get down to the plan. What is it? This is your fail-proof plan to add 274 people and a 6-figure income in 18 months. I want you to think of this as a recipe. And when we think about a recipe, there's ingredients that we need to make a recipe. And if we hold out any ingredients, that recipe is not going to work, correct? We could take flour, water, we could put it into a bowl, mix it up, and pour it in a pan, put it in the oven, and bake it. And do we get a cake? You probably get some little flat, hard pancake kind of thing, because we're missing important ingredients. We don't have all the ingredients in there to make a cake, so it didn't work. This is your recipe to add 274 people to your team in 18 months. It's a plan, but it needs there's 8 pieces here, and it needs all 8 pieces for it to work. If you say, well, I like A, B, C, D, don't like E, don't like F either, I'm going to take those out, it's not going to work. They all work cohesively together. So you can't take any piece out and expect this plan to work. You need every piece of this to work. And when somebody will tell me, I'm following the plan, it's just not working, as I begin to ask questions, there's always a piece they've forgotten about or a piece they've taken out. So the first piece is hold 8 nail bars a month. Now, for some of you, you might say, I hold more than that. I want to do more than that. Some of you might say, 8 nail bars. Oh my God. I've held 1 or 2 a month, and that's just way more than I've ever done. It's the right number for the 274 in 18 months. Because number one, we need that number for this plan to work. But number 2, it's a number that people will follow. When we start taking that party count up to holding 10 and 12 and 14 a month, we are modeling something that people won't follow. We have to model something people can see themselves doing, right? So that's a number that people can't see themselves doing. We want that number to be not only the right number for the growth that we want, but also the right number so that people will follow that. 2 parties a week, 5 hours of party time a week, Anybody can add that to their life. But when that number starts to be 15 hours of party time a week, then people don't follow that anymore. So number 2 is use effective host coaching to ensure at least 8 guests in attendance. This is also very important because that takes us to number 3, which is go into every nail bar with a recruiting focus. If we have 8 guests in attendance or more, but at least 8 guests in attendance, do we have to worry about the sales, or will they just be there? They'll just be there, right? If we have 8 to 10 guests in attendance and we play the dice game, will we have to worry about bookings, or will they just be there? We'll get the bookings. If we have 8 to 10 guests in attendance, we don't want to think about the bookings or the sales. We want to go in with a recruiting focus, a singular focus, because when we do, we pick up on little things like comments. If we're holding Facebook parties, we see different comments and they register differently. Somebody might post, "Oh my gosh, am I glad to be here tonight, ladies. I so needed this." And if we don't have a recruiting focus, we might think, "Oh, maybe she'd like to have a party of her own and have another night off." But if we have a recruiting focus, we think maybe she'd like to have a couple of nights a week off and be with girls. So we miss things like that if we don't have a recruiting focus. If we're doing a Zoom party, we can see their faces, we can see their eyes. When we talk about the income potential, we can see their eyes light up. We can hear different conversations that are going on in our Zoom parties and in our in-home parties. But if we don't go with that recruiting focus, those things can go right past us because we're focusing on other things, and so we don't even pick up on them. Hostess coaching is super important to get that attendance, and it's one of the 3 big misses in our industry. That, and then one more is on here, and then the other one is selling the dream. We just don't do a good job in our industry of selling the dream. Have it for a long time. So hostess coaching is important. Going in with a recruiting focus is important. Next, look for stylists that are willing to work a business. And of course, I don't mean that they come in thinking, "I want to do 8 parties a month." No, that's for you guys. That's for you guys that want to grow a big organization and grow it fast. That's for you guys. But we do want stylists that came in to do parties. They came in to do what we do. We are a party plan business. We don't want, and I know that this is going to throw some of you, but I'm just going to say it plain. We don't want stylists that are coming in to get their product at a discount or to maybe take orders from their office friends. They're better off having a party. They're better off having a party even if they want to get their product at a discount. When did discount become better than free? If they have a party, they get it for free. Why be a stylist just so you can get your nail strips at a discount? You can have a party every quarter and get as many as you need, absolutely free. So it's better for them, it's better for you. When that discount buyer joins Color Street, we lose them as a customer. If they place a $300 order as a hostess, we make $75 in commissions, at least, depending on whether we hit enhanced commission or not. If they place a $300 order as a customer over a period of a month or 2 months, then we make $18 at a 6% level. $75 is better than 18, isn't it? And new stylists that don't come in looking to do this as a business, they don't read things, they don't pay attention to things, they make mistakes, and then they're just mad at you. So they're a lot more work than we need. They're better off as a hostess. And I know some of you are thinking, yeah, but I came in to get my product at a discount. Now look at me, I'm a team leader. So we're going to talk about that later, not today. But just trust me, this is not who we want as a stylist. You're the exception. Most people don't do that. They come and they don't do much of anything. So we're looking for people that want to work a business so that they come in, they're holding nail bars, they're making money, they're having fun, they're excited, they're fun to work with, and they're contributing to your volume. Next is offer the business opportunity to 3 people per nail bar to recruit 2 per month. 1 out of 10 that we ask, even if we don't have the right language yet, and you're going to get that language in this series, or in one of our trainings that we're doing, we're doing a training on recruiting, so we're going to talk about that. So you'll get the language, but even if we don't have the right language, even if all we say is, have you ever thought about doing something like this? If we say that to 10 people, we'll get 1 yes. 1 out of 10 will say yes. So if we're talking to 3 people at every nail bar, we're talking to 24 people, there's your 2 recruits. 1 out of 10 will say yes. So just by talking to 3 people, we don't have to talk to every single person at every party. That's overwhelming. And then people tend to just not talk to anybody. But 3 will get you there, just 3 people. And that's a very common miss when people aren't recruiting. It's because they're not asking the individuals. They might be just, making a general offer, like maybe you're thinking that you might want to do something like this. That's just a general offer. But when we talk to 3 individuals, that's how we get those recruits. Get your stylist off to a strong start. We've trained on this before. I know we'll train on it again, but that's one of the 3 bigger misses in our industry is that we're not getting our people off to a strong start. So they come in and they just go back out because they don't really get their business off the ground. And getting our stylists off to a strong start is also how we get 1 leader out of every 6 recruits, by getting them off to a strong start. And then teach others to work this plan. When you have somebody that says, I want to be a leader, this is their plan. This is how they get there quick. They'll be a team leader in 60 days. 2 recruits, bam, team leader, 60 days. So we teach those people how to do this. Maybe you have a team leader that says, I want to go to director. This is their plan. This gets them there quickly. Teach others to work this plan. It's simple, it's fail-proof, and they'll get there. Then model success for your stylist through your personal business. When you follow this plan and you're having success, people want to know how you're doing it. People are asking Jackie and Debbie, how are you guys having so much success with your team? In other companies, when I've got clients there, even home office will reach out to them and say, what are you doing? And they're following this plan, and all of a sudden they're showing people what's possible. Model success for your stylist through your personal business. The speed of the leader determines the pace of the pack. Your team will do what you do. They'll follow your lead. Okay, so let's go to this next slide here and talk. This is I think my favorite slide that I've ever created. I love this slide because I think it so simply says how we grow quickly. Some people would say the money is in sales. It's not. We can make great money in commissions, but that's not where the big money is at. Some people would say the money is in recruiting. It's not. We make more money when we recruit and build a team, but it's not where the big money is at. Some people would say the money is in building leaders. It's not. We can make even more money when we're building leaders. So we make more money than when we recruit than when we just sell. We make more money when we build leaders than when we just recruit. That we make the most money, the big money, when we build leaders that build leaders. That's where the big money is at in Color Street or any other party plan company. So visually, you see, you promote a leader. You promote 1 leader. If we teach them to follow the Shari plan, you're going to average 2 leaders per leader. You promote a leader, that leader will promote out 2 leaders. And so the important word here is you will average 2 leaders from every leader you promote. You promote 1, you'll average 2 promotions from that leader. Average, because some people will promote 10, some will promote none, a lot will promote none. Some will promote 4, so you'll average 2 leaders. You promote 1, that leader promotes 2. So you just doubled your leader count by this leader promoting 2 than you had when you just promoted the 1. And because it's a system and it works for everybody, those 2 leaders also promote out 2. So you just doubled your leader count again. You've got 4 leaders on that 3rd level. So when I say level, don't think in Color Street level 1, level 2, level 3 recruits. Think level 1 leader, then that leader's leader, then that leader. That's what I mean by level 3. Where's the most leaders here on level 3? The 3rd group of leaders where there's 4. That's where the most leaders are. That means that's where the most people are. Building leaders that build, you got 4 teams of people on that level. You've got 2 teams of people on the other one. So it's building leaders that build leaders. That's where the compound growth is. I mean, that's compound growth, and that's where the money is. Here's the other fun part is you build 1 leader and you get 6 more for free. Somebody else built those other 4, not you. Somebody else built them. You build 1, you get 6 more for free. You build 2, you get 12 more for free. You build 3, you get 18 more for free. Somebody else does the work. Building leaders that build leaders. So when we're building leaders that aren't recruiting themselves and we're having to fill holes for them consistently, that's where we get stuck. We want to teach them how to recruit themselves. That's where you get that big growth, because now it's not just you recruiting and filling holes, it's you recruiting and this leader recruiting, and then this leader recruiting and this leader recruiting. So here's just some quick formulas. I'm just going to check my time real quick. Here's some quick formulas as we go through some visuals here, which is next. We've got 8 parties a month. That's us. We're holding 2 a week, 8 guests in attendance. So we're meeting 64 people a month. Pretty easy to get 2 recruits out of 64 people. That's 6 recruits a quarter. And typically what we see is that out of those 6 recruits each quarter, 2 aren't going to do anything. I'm going to teach you how to do everything right. As far as getting those new people off to a great start, but it's like our hostesses. Some of them just don't listen, right? So 2 will do nothing, 3 will sell 500, and 1 will get that great start that we're gonna spend some time talking about on another day. But that great start, as you've heard me preach and preach and preach on, is they hold a launch plus 4 in their first 30 days. They sell $1,500 in their first month, 5 parties times 300, $1,500 in their first 30 days. Now, that's exciting. When we've got 1 new stylist coming in and selling $1,500 in their first 30 days as opposed to 300, now we've got a great stylist. This is your next leader. Okay, so let's go to the next one. 8 parties, 8 guests, 64 guests per month, $2,400 in sales for you with your 8 parties times 300, 35% commission because you're making your maximum commission. $840 in income just on your commissions. That's how quickly you can grow your income by just holding 2 nail bars a week. That's $28,000 and $28,800 in annual sales. 2 recruits by times 12 months is 24 recruits. You're one of the top achievers in Keller Street when you're doing this. All right, so let's have some fun now and really look at these visuals so you can see how this 274 people plan works. So here we are at the end of 3 months. You've been holding your 2 nail bars a week. You've sold 2,400. That's 5 hours of party time a week. You've got your 6 new recruits, two a month. So there's 6 in a quarter. And we've got our 2 people that did 0. We've got our 3 that did 500. And we've got our rock star there that came in, did what we told her to do, held her launch plus 4. She sold $1,500 in her first month of business. She's got this party thing nailed. She's holding her launch plus 4. She did more in her second month, more in her third. She's got this thing nailed. She's your new big seller. So I know I can see you're taking notes, so write this down. Your next new big seller is your next new leader. That's your next leader. They're confident, they're making money, they're excited, they've got the party thing down, they're ready for the next step. When I'm working with a new coaching client and we're at the end of 90 days and their team has only grown by 6 people, it's not unusual for them to say, I thought we'd be further along than this. I feel like I'm not doing something right. And I'll say, you are 100% on track. You're on track. You're going to see explosive growth. It just takes a little bit of time to get that momentum going, but you've started it. And you guys are going to see as we go through this, how that momentum really picks up speed as we start to build those leaders. So here we are at the end of 6 months. We have built a leader. We've built a leader. And she has built a team. She's added 6 people to your organization that you did not recruit. And from now until all of the slides that you're going to see over the next few minutes, those 2 people out of every 6. So I recruit them, she recruits them, somebody else recruits them. 2 out of every 6 that don't do anything, they don't show up on the next slide. They're all gone. These are all working stylists. So then at the end of 9 months, my job never changes. I do 2 nail bars a week, 5 hours of party time. I sell 2,400. I get 2 recruits a month. That's all I need to do. I don't need 8 recruits. I don't do 14 parties. I just need 2 nail bars, 5 hours a week of party time, 2 recruits. That's my job. So I've got another leader. So I've recruited another 6, and at the end of the next quarter, which would be the 9-month mark, that little red gal who came in 90 days ago, she's my next, sorry, 30 days ago, she's my next leader. She's my next leader. So now I've got 16 that my leaders, my direct leaders, have recruited. So you can see I'm recruiting 2 a week, but so are they. We've tripled our recruiting. The money is in building leaders that build leaders. So now my green lady, she's got a leader. So I've got 6 people on that level 2, that's, level 2 leader that has brought in 6 people. Now I've got 3 partners that are recruiting 2 people a month right alongside of me. So we've got me recruiting 2 and 3 others. That's when we really start to see, as you can tell, when we start to build those leaders and our leaders are building leaders, that's when we really start to grow. That's why it's so important that we have team leaders that are recruiting, not that we're not just filling their holes for them, because then we don't get this. Our recruits are going to fill holes, but we're not getting the double recruiting because we're just filling for her. She's not getting her own recruits. So here we are at 12 months. Your job is still 2 parties a week, 5 hours of party time, 2 recruits a month. But look, we've got 30 people in our level 1 leader teams. We've got 22 people in our level 2 leader teams. And I hope you trust me, these numbers are accurate. I train too many people every week to not know that these numbers are accurate. That's one of the things we check, is where are we at in our growth? What month are we in? Are we on track? And these numbers are completely accurate. And we go to 15 months, and we've got 48 people from our level 1 leaders. We've got 52 from our level 2 leaders. But these are all people that somebody else recruited, not me. If I'm the only one recruiting, all we have is those people on the top row. That's what happens when we're the only one recruiting and filling everybody's holes for them. But when we build leaders that are and teach them how to recruit, this is what happens. We have partners that are building our organization for us. Level 2, 52 people. This is really fun. We've got more people now on our level 2 leaders than our level 1 leader teams. And we have got 3 people on our level 6. All right, so here we are, 18 months. We've got 274 people, sorry. Look at all these different colors. Every one of those colors represents a leader in your organization that's recruiting alongside of you. That's how we build a giant organization in 18 months. If I'm the only one recruiting, all I have is that first row of people. If I'm the only one building leaders, all I have is that second and first row. My personal team and level 1. Level 2 doesn't exist, level 3, level 4, they don't exist. Those are the leaders that were built by my leaders. Building leaders that build leaders. Okay, so let's look at a different scenario here, because I know that when I do this training, a lot of times people think, okay, that's a 6-figure income. That's a really big team in 18 months. But you know what? I'd be happy with half of that and $50,000 a year in income. And I thought, okay, that's what they're thinking, that they don't know that that's not how it works. So too many people said that to me for me to not know that that's the way a lot of people think when they look at this. If we do half the parties, do 4 instead of 8, and get 1 recruit instead of 2 a month, we don't get 50% of the income. We don't get 50% of the team. Remember, your team will follow you. The speed of the leader determines the pace of the pack. They will do what you do. So I'm going to just show you plan B. This was plan A, explosive growth. Plan B is slow growth, where we're going to drop our party count. So here's what we're going to look at. Over here, we've got, I'm holding 10, booking 10 to hold 8 to recruit 2. You have to allow for cancellations. So let's drop that to, I'm going to book 8, allow for cancellations to hold 6, and recruit 1.5. I know that's a weird number, but it's 1 this month, 2 the next, and it averages out to 1.5, because a good recruiter gets 1 out of every 4 parties. So I hope you wrote that down. A good recruiter gets 1 recruit out of every 4 parties. So if I'm holding 6, I'm going to get 1.5 recruits. So it slows things down a little bit. If I do that at the end of 3 months, instead of having 6, I've got 4, because I only held 6 parties instead of 8. So I only got 1.5 recruits instead of 2. So then we go to, at the end of 6 months, I've dropped my party count from holding 8 to holding 6. So I've taken 2 parties a month off of my calendar. It's about 2.5 hours per party. So that means I've got 5 hours back into my life. I'm doing 2 less parties a month. I've got 5 hours. So it's just 1 hour and 15 minutes a week back into my life. That's what this plan does for us. And so I'm holding 6 parties. My team is doing the same thing. They're holding 6 parties and recruiting 1.5. So at the end of 6 months, instead of 16, I've got 7. At the end of 9 months, instead of 36, I have 13. At the end of 12 months, instead of 70, I have 23. So if you're wondering, are these numbers really true? I promise you, these numbers are true. What's different? It's the leader count. Look on the left. You see all those colors? We're recruiting slower, so we're building leaders slower. It's taking longer because that future leader is not doing 8 nail bars and getting 2 a month. She's doing 6 and getting 1.5. It's taking her longer to get to leader. It's taking her leaders longer to get to leader. Our growth is slower. So instead of 70, we get 23 at the end of 12 months. At the end of 15 months, instead of 148, we have 38. So we get an hour and 15 minutes a week back into our life, but it really slows down our growth. Again, no right or wrong answer, but we just have to know that if I do this, I get this. And then we go to, 18 months, and instead of 274, we have 62. So not even close to 50%. We'd need 137 people to be at 50% count there, and we're at 62. So let's look at that other number where we're talking about 4, really truly cutting that party count in half. So instead of going from booking 10 to hold 8 to recruit 2, we're now going to book 10 to allow for cancellations and hold 4, recruit 1. And at the end of 3 months, instead of 6, we have 3. At the end of 6 months, instead of 16, we have 4. At the end of 9 months, we have 36, or 9 instead of 36. At the end of 12 months, we have 15 instead of 70. So much slower progress. Look at the leader count from right to left. At the end of 15 months, we have 23 instead of 148. And at the end of 18 months, at the end of 18 months, I'll tell you what that number is because I know you guys can't see it either. But I have this handy little chart for me. Okay. I should know these numbers by heart. I've been in this training so many times. But we have 32 instead of 274 at the end of 18 months. So what we're doing at this phase, Plan C, booking 6, holding 4, recruiting 1, what we're doing at this point is we're replacing the recruits that are leaving. Those stylists that come in, give it a try, don't like it, and leave, we're recruiting enough to replace them. So we don't have to worry, am I going to hold team leader? Am I going to hold director? Yes, you will. If you're a director and this is the plan you choose, you're going to hold firm. You're going to stay at director. You're not going to have to worry about going back to team leader, hoping that someday get back to director. You'll hold firm there, but this is not growth mode. You won't go from director to senior director or team leader to director. This is maintenance mode. So those are your plans. We have really explosive, rapid growth, we have slow growth, and we have maintenance mode. And these are the numbers that you need to hit to get to any of those places. 10, 8, 2, book 10, hold 8, recruit 2. For explosive growth, book 8, hold 6, recruit 1.5. For slow growth, book 6, hold 4, recruit 1 for maintenance. But if we drop before that, folks, you're going to revert. If you're holding 1, 2, 3 nail bars a month, you're going to be it director, dip down to team leader. Maybe hit director a few months later, tip back to team leader. You won't be able to hold that rank with a party count less than 4. So if you're struggling to hold rank, that's probably why. We're not holding enough nail bars to get in front of enough people to get those recruits to hold rank. So just, you know, you decide, do you want to hold rank, grow slow, or grow fast? But these are the numbers that we have to hit to make any of those happen. Okay, so let me just turn this back over to you and Jackie. You mean Jackie and Debbie? But I'm here for any questions also.
I'm sorry, I'm ferociously typing. I'm just so excited by this call. I just love this call. Every time I hear it, I forget how excited it gets me. It makes me want to go just do everything and prove the exact plan. So I was just typing, it's a great reminder to our stylists when they wonder what's happening to their business to always go back to how many nail bars are you holding? It's the ultimate question.
Yeah, I mean, with all of my coaching clients, when even top leaders will say, gosh, I'm just struggling with recruiting or I'm struggling with promoting leaders, the first question I always ask is, tell me about your party count for the last 6 months. Give me exact numbers. What was January? What was February? What was March? And when we average it out, it's almost never the recruiting piece of it. It's their party count. They're either holding 4 and getting 1 recruit a month, so they're not growing, or they're struggling to hold rank because their party count is under 4. But it's almost always the party count. And the second thing that it's the second most common is that they're not talking to 3 people at every party. So that party count is just so important.
Yeah, and in our, you know, I do a team leader call at the beginning of the month for new team leaders, and that's the one thing I emphasize. People, I think, get that team leader, that first leader rank, and they think their time needs to all be given to their leaders, and they forget that it still has to stay with your personal business.
You're so right.
And you guys, I can attest to that just from me in the beginning. My team exploded so fast and we had no training. So we were doing everything we could to just even keep afloat. So my personal business for months would go down, 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 down. And then finally I felt in control again where I could get my personal business back. And it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, it truly, truly does. You can't let it go.
You're such a good role model.
Well, thank you.
You know, with every company like Color Street, that's the new hot company. You know, it was true with 31 Gifts when they were brand new. It was true with Party Light when they were brand new, or Jamberry, or Scentsy, or Unique, or any new company that's super hot, like, and yours, Color Street is still real hot, but nothing like it was in year 1, where people were just coming on rapid fire, where it was hard to even keep track of, you know, who was on your team. So with people leap in, or like they're reaching out to you, right? So that's normal. But then after a certain period, and this is where we're at right now, we got to find them at our nail bars. Nobody's calling us anymore and saying, hey, I just heard about your company, you know, and tell me more about it. Now we've got to find them at our party. So at the early time, Debbie, you didn't have to do that. It was just rapid fire growth, like I said, without any training or any really intentionality to it. It just happened so fast. But now we got to be real intentional about it.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions or comments for Shari, as long as we have her for a few more minutes? I'm so excited to see 33 leaders on, Shari. Bravo to you guys.
That is really amazing. Live. Really,
I think live makes, I get it, we can't all be on live, but it just it makes a big difference. So I think it's real important. So, and I love seeing all these faces.
It charges me up, I gotta tell you.
Right.
When I see all these people, it's just so much more fun to train to a big group of people than to, you know, blank screen.
Right. Any questions, anybody? Comments? Jackie?
Oh, sorry. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I was just thinking I would love to do some kind of a raffle for all of the people that took time out of their day to invest in their personal and professional development, but also give girls the opportunity who couldn't be here live to have maybe 24 hours to view the recording and then maybe do some kind of a fun little raffle. I'm not sure, but this was so valuable. Every single time I hear you, Shari, I hear another golden nugget, and I'm just so honored to know you and to be able to share you with our team.
Thank you. I love working with you guys so much. So thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So it's not coming out right. Raise your hand if this was your first time seeing this talk on the plan and seeing those numbers, and what do you think? I mean, it's pretty amazing, and she's not asking you to do that much. I mean, 10 parties, which is 2 to 3 a week, booking, hold 8, so 2 a week, and getting 2 new people. That's not 20 new people, 14 new people, like she said. That's not asking you to work every single night of the week. It's really not this crazy, crazy plan. To make your team grow that much is just crazy.
You know, one thing I find remarkable is when I first started this business, I was spending hours, you guys, driving to people's houses, driving an hour away, driving an hour and a half away. I'm not having to do that anymore. And we're learning from people on this team how they can maintain a full-time job and a busy family by doing 2 parties in one night online. I mean, I just find it to be mind-blowingly such a blessing. And then I'll tell you too, I remember my first 2 months of the business, I was so excited just to have a party, and I did them all wrong. And then I ran out of friends. And that's when I contacted Shari, because I was like, holy crap, I just quit my job. And all my friends are done buying nail polish. Like now what do I do? And that's when Shari taught me personally, and Debbie together, we learned, oh, a booking game? Never heard of it. I didn't know there was a science to a party. So we are so lucky to know Shari McAllister, you guys. She tells us how to hold a party. She tells us how to host, coach. She tells us, you need to use a booking game and go in with it recruiting mind. I hope this is just the beginning of an amazing journey with all of us, allowing Shari to continue to teach us how to be even better at what we do, because you're all amazing.
You are.
And Ella just brought up a good point too. She said, if you're holding 8 parties, you should be able to do your $1,000, right? For sure. And enroll 2 people. So you'd also hit that circle of excellence, which, Ella, is why Color Street put that into action, because it really is. Yeah, right? There was a science behind it. I mean,
Ella's the one who did this?
Ella commented about how doing Yeah. I mean, Color Street had a purpose behind it, because again, it's getting you to hold at least 3 to 4 parties and enroll 2. They're getting you to do the formula that they know works. So, and then you get money for it.
$1,000 is the new BQ.
Right?
Oh.
So I hope everyone's super excited like I am.
Me too.
I screenshotted the people on tonight.
Oh, yay!
So we'll see if that helps us with names.
Should we all pose and say thanks, or share this out? I love it.
Are people going to turn their cameras on?
We're going to have the fear of missing out, all the girls that weren't allowed to or couldn't jump on live.
Had I known, I would have dressed for it.
Deanna, I missed you. It's so great to see you.
I will tell you, I have 1 left.
I have no camera storage on my phone. 0.
I have 1 mask left. Maybe that should be a giveaway.
Yes.
I would love that mask.
I want that mask.
We had to do 12, or there were 12, and I had 13. So I do have them sitting here, and I was wondering what drawing I should do for it. Perhaps someone on this call will win this.
How about we just do some takeaways? We make a post and beautifully polished and write some takeaways within the next 24 hours.
All right, and then I will pick a name. So I think I have everyone's. Is everyone's? Okay. How about when I post the link of this after it converts and I put it in YouTube. If you were on it, put your name in the comments and then I'll have your name for the drawing. Okay? So I will convert it. It usually takes a good 20 minutes to convert. I swear it takes a while. So give
Deb,
me,
I think we need a takeaway though, like not just a name,
all right.
but to give
So
us
at
something that you-
8:30, at 8:30, go in, put your name and your takeaway, and then you get entered in the drawing for my leftover mask. Don't worry, I have not worn it.
Ooh, I hope you'll share the takeaways with me.
Yes, we will. For sure.
All right, and this
All
is
right, you guys.
our goals too.
Shari.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And don't forget, I want those posted by tomorrow. I got to get mine done too. The colorful goals, post those and beautifully polished.
Yeah,
And you can post your cute face by it too. I might be doing a drawing out of the people who post too. You
I
never
just feel so
know.
excited, so blessed that this business can change our life, you guys. Together, whatever you want. Plan A, B, or C.
Let's choose A, B, or C. Let's not do the D's. All right. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
for
you.
being on. It was great.
Thank
Bye,
you. Have a great
guys.
night.
Have a good
Thank you.
night. Bye.
Bye.